The day was as perfect as the sky, an almost azure blue canvas of billowing white cumulus clouds that floated lazily across the ether, set ablaze at the edges by a sun of dazzling brilliance. The wind was a gentle breeze caressing the birds and the leaves in the surrounding trees, and the temperature couldn't have been finer if it were embracing a tropical paradise. Darkness Within, Part 1, Chapter 1, An Evening at Davner's Cabin. Jennifer Nichols reveled in the feel of the wind softly blowing her silky blonde hair back as it lightly breezed through the back passenger window of the dark blue Ford Explorer XLT 4x4. The XLT was pulling a four-sided trailer with provisions, including 2 kegs of beer for a weekend at Davner's Cabin. The Explorer was headed in the direction of Summerdale. Its final destination would be a 2-story cabin 10 miles beyond that was designed by Tyler's father, Owen Davner, over 15 years ago. Jennifer was pushing her head over the passenger's door window divider, feeling the sun on her face. She acknowledged that it was a beautiful day, the summer solstice, and she suspected it would be a beautiful weekend, perfect for camping, even if it was going to be done mostly inside a cabin with all the comforts of home. "That's not camping," she heard the voice of her mother telling her. "Camping is when you have to rough it and suffer things like going to the bathroom outside." "Sorry, Mom, but the cabin has indoor plumbing." "That's not roughing it." "Oh, well, I guess I won't be roughing it then." Jennifer was currently attending her first year in college at Portland, Maine University. Her major was computer programming as she eventually worked her way toward the ultimate goal, a PhD in engineering. With the striking looks of a centerfold, Jennifer could have easily been a model if she chose to, but she didn't cater to that vanity shit, and she wanted to do something with her mind, something challenging. Certainly she had the intellect for it, and intimidated most guys as a result, and she would prefer that over posing for a bunch of men she would never or care ever to see just to make a living. Lanny Conniff, on the other hand, would have no difficulty posing for men that she would never see in order to make a living. She was wild-spirited and quite the exhibitionist at times, taking off her top at the drop of a hat and throwing it to the wind, exposing firm breasts no smaller than honeydew melons. Or she might lift her skirt to show off her G-string and tramp stamp that she was quite proud of. But rather than be a model, she would choose to be an actress if the opportunity presented itself, and currently she was attending Sanford's acting studio and hoped to prompt her in the right direction. While on the weekends she would sing with a band, Mistaken Identity. She wasn't the primary singer, rather she was the glorified go-go dancer first and foremost, as she oftentimes jokingly referred to herself as the energetic bitch that would encourage others in the clubs to get up and dance, while she occasionally slapped a purple tambourine and flaunted her sex appeal. From time to time she would also play the harmonica. She didn't get paid much, but she got her indulgence for free, a lot of Mary J. and a little bit of coke. At the moment she was wearing her Bad Girls outfit, something a biker chick might wear, cut-off jeans and a leather jacket and boots that climbed almost to her knees. Beneath the jacket she wore something that looked like the cross between a bikini and a woman's sexy undergarments mating. Her top looked like a white bra that was covered by what appeared to be a red laced bikini top. The cut-offs that covered her fine ass was something along the lines of frayed stonewashed jeans cut in the fashion of bikini bottoms and slid up the side for just more appeal. Contrasting this was her black, which she liked to call her doomy boots. At the moment, the blue-eyed brunette beauty with the trendy blonde streaks was sitting next to Jenny, while she casually rested her head on Jessie Pruitt's shoulder. Light sounds of snoring drifted from between her lips, as it was almost a 3-hour drive from Sanford to Summerdale, and Lanny had been up all night the previous evening. There was no commitment between Jessie and Lanny. They weren't even dating, although Jesse would have very much relished for that to be the case. Jesse was a good-looking young man of 18 with dark hair and blue eyes, standing about 6'1", and he was reaching for a scholarship in football, and it looked promising. He figured if he scored on that, Lanny would look at him twice. Lanny doesn't care if you get a scholarship or not. She's not even attending college. Another part of him suggested that Lanny already had looked at him twice. After all, she was resting her head on his shoulder. But then again, that could just be her cock-teased, promiscuous nature. With Lanny, it was always difficult to know when she was being sincere. Was the word even in her vocabulary? He rolled his eyes at the beauty resting her head on his shoulder, trying to distract himself by thinking of other things beyond the girl next to him. Between summer, school, and his free time, Jesse was working construction with the Beverly Brothers. But after 3 months with them, he was having second thoughts about the company that he was working for. It seemed after a time like a fly-by-night construction company, always late with his paycheck, lax attitude on the job. The boss, his brother and partner, would spend too much time away from the site. Oh sure, they were always getting lunch or running an errand, but they always seemed to be going to some place obscure and out of the way to do it. And although he never saw them drinking beer or smoking dope on the site, there were telltale signs that suggested that might have been the case. What it came right down to when push came to shove was that it was difficult finding a legitimate job that put integrity and professionalism first. Everyone seemed to be trying to play an angle or cut corners these days. Either that or he just wasn't lucky in finding the right position yet that he could appreciate. "I need some cigarettes," Shannon told Tyler, who was currently steering the Explorer down the long open road. "I think there's a quick stop about 5 miles up ahead," Tyler told Shannon. "Get some beer," Brandon called from the far back seat. He was resting his leg on the duffel bag in a cooler and smoking a joint. The sweet smell of marijuana filled the small area where the two young men were sitting. "Right, beer run," Jason added from the far back seat, where he sat across from Brandon. To Brandon he said, "Don't be bogarting that joint, man." Shannon was a salesperson at McCain's Jewelers, and she wasn't entirely sure what she wanted to do with her life. If nothing upcoming inspired her, she supposed that she would go right on being a salesperson, as she was doing very well in that position. Or maybe she would choose to be a manager, and then regional manager, or perhaps even owner of her own store, like her boyfriend Tyler, who had been voted most likely to succeed in high school. To this day she believed that it was a skiing accident 2 years ago at Readout that messed up his head a little and somehow gave Tyler the notion that he no longer wanted to be a doctor. It wasn't a tragedy any way you looked at it. When Tyler was in his junior year of high school, he had already owned and operated a computer store, while his father, Owen, owned 4 car dealerships in Springdale, Portsmouth, Portland, and finally Salem, Massachusetts, with over 1,000 units of new and used cars. So any way you looked at it, Tyler would come out smelling like a rose. If his computer store failed, then he always had his inheritance to look at, which would of course be ownership of his father's dealerships. This concludes Chapter 1 of Darkness Within. I want to thank you for your time and listening to my work, and I hope you are enjoying the ride. Share with others so I might have a large fan base and get more work sold here in the States. Thank you again for your time.